Everyone's favorite, an update on the Terry McLaurin situation. A Commander's summer star avoids injury, and why one of the biggest tests of the season could be coming in week 1. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell and we are here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. The last video I uploaded was my reaction to the preseason game. If you have not checked that video out, go ahead. You get my nuanced thoughts on the players, the takeaways, and what I'm looking for moving ahead into game 2. Now let me start real quick, which is something that I don't normally do, but let me start real quick by addressing the comments on that last video. There weren't very many of them, but there were a couple people who were saying, let's not overreact, let's not freak out, you're taking this too far. And I would say, don't judge the entire 20-minute video by the title or what you think I'm gonna say. If you watch the entire video, you'll see that nobody's freaking out. I'm just doing the best that I can to detail what happened in the preseason game. And I have to make videos about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a channel. But again, if you missed that, please go check it out. I was actually really proud of how it came out. Some cool editing, and we introduced a new concept that will be a recurring theme on the channel. So definitely make sure you've seen that. Guys, we are going to jump into this video today. If you are new here, do yourself the favor, hit the subscribe button, join the fastest growing Washington Commanders community. Hit the like button if you want to help out. That is the #1 way you can support. And as always, as we go through this video, leave your comments on everything that you think about what I think. Leave your comments on my thoughts. Okay, so let's start off with the Terry McLaurin update like I promised. Bit of a shorter video today, but this was a big piece of news. ESPN's Keim, who does some awesome work. If you haven't seen his stuff, please go check him out. He said that week 1 in the preseason might have looked like a win for Terry McLaurin because the receivers were not that impressive, but in actuality, it didn't change anything. The Commanders have always felt that they needed Terry McLaurin. However, they will not be going to his contract demands. Really simple as that. There's no further progress to be made until McLaurin and his representation come to the table and say that they will lower their demands. Now, Terry needs to spend at least 6 weeks on the active roster in order for this year to count on his contract. Keep in mind, he is not a free agent. He is currently under contract, and he is... I guess he's no longer holding out, so he's no longer in violation of that contract. He is holding in, but if he's not participating with this mysterious ankle, the Commanders could remove him from their active roster. And once they do that, again, he needs to spend 6 weeks on the active roster for this year to count. He can't just sit out the entire season and then hit the open market next year after not playing this year if he doesn't at least make some sort of attempt. Now, the active roster includes the PUP list. It also includes IR. Right now, he's on the PUP list, so they could just leave him there, but then they would also be doing him a favor and helping him work towards his goal of getting this new deal while potentially screwing the Commanders this season. There's also a very extreme method, one that is rarely ever used in the NFL. I don't know the official name of it, but I'm just going to refer to it as the 5-day letter option. And essentially what this is the Commanders can send Terry McLaurin a letter, say, hey, you have 5 days to get here and be active. And if you don't, then your contract is frozen for the rest of the year. You can't come to practices, you can't come to team events, you can't come to games, you can't do anything. And your contract will restart next year. So that's another way that they can go to Terry and say, look, you are not getting this deal now or next year unless you lowered your demands. The problem is if Terry doesn't show up for those 5 days, they don't get him for the entire year no matter what. And that doesn't help anybody. But we are starting to get to the time. I mean, it's August 10th. The Commanders' first game is on September 7th. We are obviously less than a month away. We're getting to the point where it's kind of shocking that progress hasn't been made, and the lack of progress is hurting the team's outlook for the season. These are valuable reps. These are valuable days for Terry just to get sharp. You know, I'm sure he's training. I'm sure he's staying in shape. But unless you're going against other NFL caliber players and you're learning the installs and you're out there just refining your skills, you're not going to be at your best. And it's that could be a problem for the Commanders. So whatever's going to happen, as I always say, I just want the solution to happen quickly. Whatever the solution is, I want it to come quickly. The Commanders still have kicking issues, which is another theme that I didn't mention very much. I didn't go into much detail in my game reaction, but I was just sitting there thinking about it. watching the video of the Jaguars rookie Cam Little. He made a kick from 70 yards in their preseason game on Saturday. And I was just sitting there thinking, man, if only the Commanders had a kicker that we were confident in. Like, can you imagine if you got to the 40-yard line and it was like, okay, this is a guaranteed minimum 3 points? We don't have that right now. Matt Gay last year, who obviously wasn't with the team, but now he is, he didn't miss a kick inside of 50 yards, but he's only 3 of 9 from 50 plus, and he missed his first kick of the preseason. It was from 49, so it was right on that 50-yard range where he struggled last year, but he missed from 49. He made from 37, cool, but it's like, it's so much pressure on the offense when you're asking them, when they just had this historic year, they were the best fourth down team in NFL history. If that's the standard, if that's what you're relying on, I think they'll be better than whatever the average is. And I do think they'll be aggressive because they have the offense to pull it off. But that's just not a sustainable model. Now, I don't know what free agent kickers are floating around out there. I don't know if they got to draft a guy. I don't know what the solution is. And I'm not faulting anybody for not sorting it out because Brandon McManus was supposed to be the guy. He gets into some legal issues. They have to cut him. And from there, it's week 1 and you're panicking and you got to try Austin Seibert and Zane Gonzalez. And there was someone else whose name I forget that they had. They had to go down multiple routes. Matt Gay appeared to be the guy this year, but kicking just has to be fixed in order for this team to become, in order for them to become a bona fide championship contender. Another update from the preseason, Jacory Croskey-Merritt went to the blue tent on Friday. Wasn't totally clear why. He walked out under his own power. Good news here. Bill is fine. He went in. He got his shoulder checked out. They told him that, yep, you're good to go. I would expect him to play in preseason game 2. Now, granted, I'm not Dan Quinn. I don't have advanced access to his medical records or anything like that, but it sounds like he's doing just fine. And I believe the Commanders also, are they on Monday night? They're on, Monday. Okay, so their next preseason game is Monday against the Bengals at 8 o'clock over in Landover. So it gives him a little more time to recover, shake off the nagging effects. But again, it seems like he's fine. So we should see Bill for that game against the Bengals. And I mentioned that it's a bit of a shorter video today, but also just in me looking around the NFL, some of the other preseason games, I couldn't help but notice what happened with the New York Giants. They were taking on the Buffalo Bills. And Jackson Dart actually looked all right, but I'm not here to talk about the Giants offense. I'm here to talk about their defense. Their front is hellacious. Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence on the same defensive line is utter insanity. And I was having this conversation with a couple of my friends. How many top 5s are there in the NFL that are better than the Giants' top 5? If you didn't know the other 48 players, and I said, you have a team that has Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Malik Neighbors. There's not many teams out there. There might not be one team out there. There probably is. I haven't thought about it. But point being, that sounds like a Super Bowl contender when you list it out on paper like that. Now, the rest of the roster, we know deficiencies. But that defensive line could legitimately be the best in the NFL this season. And I was thinking, because let me say why I got here. I was watching the Giants play. Abdul Carter played 6 snaps. 3 of them were pass rushes. He got pressures on all 3 of them. And I know it's the preseason. I don't know if he was playing the Bills' backup offensive lineman or not. I don't remember. But point being, just for him to come out and immediately be that impactful. And when you see this guy's in week 1, you're going to notice him. He is someone who flashes on your screen, or if you're going to be in the stadium like I am in week 1, which I'm super pumped for, I'm sure his explosiveness will be on full display. Now, I bring all of this up because Abdul Carter and Josh Connerly Jr. actually have a bit of a history. They saw each other in the Big Ten championship game last winter, it would have been. Connerly was playing left tackle for Oregon. Carter, the primary edge rusher for Penn State. Oregon won that game. It was a shootout. I want to say it was like 45-37, 45-38, something like that. Now, Connerly actually had a terrific game when they squared off against one another. He had 35 pass blocking reps, didn't give up a hurry, a pressure, or a sack. Just totally blanked Abdul Carter. PFF said that he wasn't great in the running game, but that stuff is a little more arbitrary. He was really solid in the passing game. So that's a good sign, but it's not just Cardu's going to be there. Obviously, it's the Lawrence, it's the Thibodeau, it's the Burns as well. So it's going to be a massive test for this offensive line. Now, I'm not worried about Laramie Tunsil because you just drop him in anywhere. He'll sit on an island and he'll shut down everyone else. But Connerly is a rookie. Sam Cosmi, this is a big question. Are you going to want to trot out Sam Cosmi for his return from injury against that defensive line? That's a tall order. That is a tall ask, especially for him not getting reps in the preseason. I would imagine there's going to be all sorts of exotic blitzes and different creative stunts and things of that nature, and things that require communication and also just awareness of the tendencies of the player you're lined up next to. You want that chemistry with your offensive line and the guy who's right next to you, so you know on this stunt this is the motion that we're gonna go through, this is the timing of when I'm gonna pass him off and I'm gonna recover. And Cosby's not gonna have that. Now on the flip side, your backup option is Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti. Are you confident putting them out there against these behemoths? We saw the Commanders' offensive line do well when the offense did well overall, and they were able to stay in no huddle, keep the pressure on the defense, not allow subs, keep the defense in very stock coverages. But if the defense was winning and you can't get to the no huddle and you're allowing that defensive line time to tee off, that's when the problems were created. And Allegretti and Wiley were a part of the line, or parts of the line, that struggled in those situations. So that's going to be a headache for the front office and the coaching staff to figure out. You don't know what's happening with Brandon Coleman. We haven't gotten an update there. He had that ankle injury at practice, didn't travel up to Foxborough. Again, no updates. I'm sure we'll hear about it from Dan Quinn. I'm sure that'll be one of the first questions he's asked pretty soon here. But just a lot of questions against that defensive front. And I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people are talking as if the Commanders beating the Giants is a foregone conclusion. And I understand why. I believe the 6.5-point line is the second largest spread of week one. The only other spread that's larger is the Broncos against the Titans. And that makes sense because it's a rookie quarterback going against an awesome defense. Do I think the Commanders have a better quarterback than the Giants? Yeah. Do I think they have better corners? And do I think they have better linebackers? Yes. But potentially no Terry McLaurin, and that defensive line, like, this could actually end up being a close game. I don't think people are giving the Giants their credit for what they could actually be. I think this is a 7, maybe even an 8-win team this year. And Russ Wilson, we might not like him. We can say that he took advantage of Benjamin St. Juste and some terrible defense last year, but he did get a look at the Commanders' defense last year, and he did win on the road, unfortunately. The Steelers won. Zach Ertz, you're never going to convince me Zach Ertz didn't get a first down there. And Johnny Newton made a rookie move, jumping off sides, giving the Steelers a fresh set of downs. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Again, a little bit shorter, not a whole lot to talk about. A little bit of a debrief from the first preseason game, looking ahead, some of my other takeaways from other games around the league. But please go to the comment section. Do let me know what you think of my thoughts here. Also, as in the last video, make sure you leave me your thoughts on what you're going to be looking for in the upcoming preseason game on Monday night. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We are on the road to 1,100 subs and beyond. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day.